better Nigeria? Is it a myth or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Reju. Welcome to Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified. I am Onari. With me in the studio today, Adams and Obi from our very first episode. Obi is a creator of Study Lab, and Adams is our engineer, word crafter, the best that we know. And Dr. Reju is here in the studio today. Now, last week we introduced the concept of work as it relates to wealth. We examined John Stott's definition of work as a productive activity that serves others and gives fulfillment to the worker, which in turn benefits society and gives glory to God. We made a clear distinction between a job and work, stressing that a job is a task, while work is a value system. We reviewed the need to have a strong work culture that will result in productiveness and has the potential of drastically adding to development and adding to the GDP. We looked at laziness as a value system also that needs to be upturned in society, and as expected, we have lots and lots of follow-up questions. There are so much. Who wants to go first? Adams?
Okay. Dr. Reggie, you last time you said you don't give money to beggars. And I'm wondering what's the principle behind that decision? Why don't you give money?
It's something I deliberately and intentionally not do. Because if I give money to a beggar, I have not helped him. I would rather have a situation, because if you remember, what I said was I don't give money to beggars, but I would love to have a situation where I can sit the beggar down and let's hear the story. Let's trace the journey of how you become a beggar and how we can begin, to address that. True. So that's the reason why I don't give, because it doesn't help them. What people need is not a handout, right? I will only give money to somebody who is helpless, who is depraved, who has been deprived of a lot of, deprived of a lot of things in society. And what I give is not something to get him the next meal. I want to be able to see how can I turn, because remember how we define wealth, that we are not wealthy until wealth is common. Yeah. So if I still have a beggar on the road, if I have people who are still looking for handouts and things like that, then society is not wealthy. So we need to create a whole kind of system where we can engage the beggar. Let's first of all distinguish between that this guy is not begging because he's lazy. So if I'm giving somebody who is lazy money to go get the next meal, I'm actually destroying society. That's the reason why I don't give money to beggars. That somebody is blind doesn't mean the person should be a beggar. I have seen blind people. One of the great musicians in this country is a blind man. Why is he not begging? I have seen, there used to be this blind guy that live in a neighborhood in Lagos. He sells flower vases. This guy has been trained in such a way that he knows color by touch.
What?
Yeah. So you see, there is no reason. The best shoemaker in the village where I grew up was a lame man. I'm not trained in such a way that I pity people. I want to have compassion on you. Pity doesn't help. It doesn't help. And you see, and then when you bring that now, when you situate that into today where begging has become, an industry.
Institutionalized, yeah.
It's becoming an industry where people actually now beg to actually swindle people. You've met them many times. Maybe they don't know they've seen you. They tell you the story all over again. They tell you the story they told you last time. They come and so if this industry will be denied patronage, it will fizzle out. The reason people still do it is because they still get patronage. So you see a lot of people, they've crafted the lies, they've done all those kind of things. So that's the reason why I don't give money to beggars. You see, it's the same reason when you take it on a national level. If you take it even on a global level, in Africa, we have received trillions of dollars in terms of aid. Africa is still poor. If aid and grants make nations great or wealthy or financially sustainable, Africa will be there. But you see, you can give money in a situation where maybe when you have a natural disaster and things like that, and the money you give should be directed towards bringing those people out to normal life and living again. So that's the same principle why I don't give money to beggars. And let me appeal to everyone listening to me. Please don't give money to beggars. I beg you.
But then you leave them in a destitute kind of situation because the government have not created an institution on its own that takes care of like social welfare to say, okay, let's gather these people.
You are not hearing me. But I don't think you're listening. And maybe like many others there, maybe they will have just taken the surface that, oh, this guy doesn't give money to beggars. I don't give money to beggars to go get the next meal. I'm not in favor of handouts. Can we, as many as are listening there, pick up the initiative? I'm always available for that. Pick up the initiative. You know, there are beggars in your neighborhood. Maybe the person is blind, the person is lame or whatever. Can we set up an initiative? This particular program, we partner with you. Don't even bring government into it. It's not the job of the government. This is just normal relationship in society, right? Yeah. Can we take one beggar off the street? Let's sit that guy down. If it's a vocational training, let's pay. If it's whatever, what that guy needs is not the next meal. If you give him, we know this maxim, this age-old saying, give a man a fish,
you feed him for a day.
Teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So, but we just know those kind of things in our minds. We never put them into action. It is something society should take upon itself, beginning with every individual, right? Rather than giving 5 naira, 10 naira to a beggar, why don't we do something that's sustainable?
Well, okay. That's left everybody dumbfounded for a while. If you're just tuning in, this is Answers with Dr. Reju. One thing that struck us from our last episode, you talked about how designing a CV is the first thing a graduate does, and to you is an anomaly. Who should be laden with the responsibility of changing the practice? Yeah, who should be laden with that responsibility?
I think this question came out, last week. You should start with the first person listening to me right now. What I believe is, you see, I talk, to humans, and I said with every sense of humility, from the background of a bit of a knowledge about what is natural to humans. Human beings, right, regardless of race or creed or whatever, we love to create. What gives us satisfaction is what we've been able to create. We rather slaughter the animal and cook it rather than buying beef in the market. It gives us more fulfillment. That's just an example, right? So if you are not at the very beginning of a whole process, the satisfaction is not full. What I'm saying is that I'm not downplaying somebody looking for a job. People should work for people, but I also call that a preoccupation. People should work for people. There are many human needs in this world. We have not been able to actually meet them because people won't take these creative initiatives. Human beings are wired to be adventurous. Human beings are created to explore. But many times society molds us in such a way that we just want a quick one. Which one is quicker? Design a CV and just spread it like I did when I left school.
I did too.
And just spread it around. Or sitting down and looking around you and begin to see opportunities where others are seeing limitations. I am not bringing up, maybe another kind of a motivational speech. I'm actually provoking, because the motivational speeches didn't help. We just enjoy the cliches. We just enjoy the alliterations. We just enjoy those word phrases, and it didn't produce anything. But the fact is, what do I say to businessmen? When you walk around the street, there's always a need. There's always a need. How do you convert that need, to a demand? Between that need becoming a demand, there's a productive activity. Right? I've discovered over the years that what people need, they don't know until they see it.
Until they see it. That's true.
And thank you for talking about motivational speakers, because there have been a plethora of books writing on all kinds of things, from business to work to wealth, and they just make us go woo woo glory, And there are some that talk about the distinction between smart work and hard work, and they make it sound like hard work is for people who are not mentally sharp. Yeah. So we need to learn work smart as opposed to hard work.
That's laughable. Again, it's just playing with words. There is nothing called smart work. It's just another ploy to be lazy. If you are able to work smart because you have a tablet, you have to know that the tablet in your hand is a product of hard work. Right? It's a product of hard work. So there's nothing called smart work. It's a way of cutting corners. Work has to do with, expending energy, whether manual or mental. There is energy expended. Sometimes you think and you sweat. Has that happened to you? Yeah. You are thinking, some deep, intentional thinking, and you actually sweat because there's energy there. So this smart work, it sounds smart, but when you look at what people are actually saying, they're actually talking about is the narrative of quick, quick, fast, that's what is producing that. For me to be able to work smart, I've done a lot of deep thinking. The reason they call it smart work is because, it happens quickly. I am privileged to have learned computer appreciation from the days of DOS, disk operating system, where I know that CD space something. Do you know we still do that today? But that somebody has done that for us, we just need to click a button. When you click that button, that whole process still happens.
Yeah.
But somebody has done the hard work. If everybody will switch to smart work, and nobody is talking about hard work, there's nothing to smart work. There's nothing to help us do smart work. So we need to know. Let's be able to track the link. I don't like that statement that it's not about hard work, it's about smart work. I don't like it. One leads to the other. The reason you can work with multiple windows is because somebody has been able to do all the behind the scene work for you. It doesn't mean it's no longer being done. Somebody did it. So we need to have a society that values hard work, creative work, excellent work, devoted work, committed work. So this smart work, we only breed laziness.
All right. We'll take a musical interlude here by the Gatekeepers. Start something.
There comes a time when we all have to take the plunge into the journey that's for us alone. We make big plans but scared to take the lead. It's like water's passing by under the bridge into the night. Journey of 1,000 miles, steps to the city step, waiting for the perfect time. It never happened. If only we could get up and step outside the door. Start something and bring your dreams to life. Only we can look deep within us to find the strength and courage to stand tall in the race. Never copying out when failure looks. Look beyond shout to the city step. Waiting for the perfect time, it never happens. If only we could get up and step outside the door. But Johnny Albert talking about shout to the city step. Waiting for the perfect time, it never happens. If only we could get up and step outside the door. Start something and bring your dreams to life.
Welcome back to Answers with Dr. Reju. In continuation, Adams, you have a question for Dr. Reju.
Yeah, bearing in mind all that you have mentioned about work, is there a personality that we can peg, these principles on and say, okay, this is someone, we can emulate, an icon of work,
Yeah, there are loads of them. But what will help us here is this. Having defined what work is, having defined what hard work is, having defined all these things, put that definition in your consciousness, and your paths will sure cross with somebody, right? Who sort of embody that definition and become somebody you can actually follow. There are loads of them there. The reason why I would not want to just mention one name, if you want to follow an icon, it must be somebody you can relate with on close proximity. Because if we're going to mention names now, we're going to be mentioning people on Forbes list, people on even African list of wealthy people or people. So these are people we don't have that access to.
Yeah.
We can read their books, but it's not the same. So it won't be right for me to say this person, this person, this person. Fine, you can read their books, but get that definition. You might actually be the next icon. Yeah.
So you have done justice to a lot of mindsets, a lot of philosophies about work and all that. And for instance, a lot of people believe that it's a gift of God, it's a blessing for you to walk like an ant and eat like an elephant. That's actually theology in some places.
Yeah, that in itself is, the way we approach that, is this. If an ant begins to eat like an elephant, that's a problem. If the ant will attempt to eat the food earmarked for an elephant, that's a problem. You see, that statement is only a product of greed, right? It's a product of greed. And again, it's tied to the issue of laziness. If you have walked like an ant, why are you not contented with eating like an ant? Why do you want to eat like an elephant? You want to reap where you've not sown. It's just it's actually going against the rhythm of life, and where that comes from. It's a society that is steeped in greed. So that doesn't work. If the ant should eat the food portion for the elephant, the ant is dead. The ant is dead. So, but I know exactly what you're talking about, but my definition of that is laziness.
Yeah.
It's still trying to do smart work. Right. It's still this issue of cutting corners so that we don't do what is expected of us. What makes a society become wealthy? Society is wealthy by what everybody contributes. Nobody is allowed to be idle. Nobody is allowed to be lazy. We should build a system, a society where laziness hangs out, like a sore thumb. Yeah.
Because this doctrine or theology or lie, whichever one we could call it, still is extended to the practice of getting wealthy by giving to the man of God. In other words, the people who sell this kind of theology of walking like an ant, sitting like an elephant, also sell the theology of getting wealthy solely by. Let
me make out time here to really clarify this. It's not only given to man of God, but even given to church itself, given to a mission itself, given in all of it. You see, my understanding of giving is this. You don't give to get financially prosperous. You give because you are financially prosperous. But in a situation where people tell us, I don't care, it doesn't really matter the caliber of the person, it's a lie. It doesn't exist that you give to get financially wealthy. It's not in any economics book. It's not in any social studies book. It's not even in the Bible.
This will be racking a lot of brains because give and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. You are doing something here.
I have read. I think I would not be prideful to say that I have read the Bible a lot. I've read books about the Bible a lot. And the reference you just made has nothing to do with money. The reference there has nothing to do with money, right? He was talking about you not using yourself as a standard to judging others. Go and read it. I don't know the address right now. It's not in the place of this program to start giving addresses. He was talking in the context of you using yourself. He said, judge not so that you will not be judged. Right? He said, with the measure in which you judge, it will be measured back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. He wasn't talking about money.
Oh, so give.
When you judge, you will be judged in return in many folds over. Right? Yeah. So he wasn't talking about giving to a man of God. He wasn't talking about giving to mission. That's not what he was talking about. It's a lie from the pit of hell that you can give your way to financial prosperity.
So giving is because you've received?
Giving is because you've worked, you've earned an income, and then out of that which you have, you give.
Expecting nothing.
You give out of generosity. Right? You give because you're generous. Giving, is an expression of generosity, not a means of getting something back.
Yeah, not a strategy.
It's not. There is no book that says that. Even the zakat that they give, in the Islamic faith, is given by those who are well endowed. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And well endowed, that thing didn't fall from heaven. You worked it. You get well endowed, and then you are able to do, you're able to do alms. Mm-hmm. So it's a lie, and anyone out there listening to me, listen to me with open mind. It's not true. And that's why you keep seeing the program coming over and over. They want to have a financial breakthrough here. They want to have, and what we've been saying that is as if the closer we get to it, it moves forward again. The reason is it's a mirage. It doesn't exist. Let me clarify that. It is a lie to say you give to get wealthy. You work to get wealthy financially. And then when you get financially wealthy, then you share out of that which you have with those who are less privileged, to bring them up also to a place where
the wealth is common.
Absolutely. That's what we're talking about. Read it back to back. Economics, the way you get wealthy is to work. It's not true. We've sold that over the years, but I think people need to hear.
Because God is a heavenly Father, not a heavenly banker.
Yeah. So that's just it's as simple as it's been there all along, but we've been shying away from it. But it's just not true. If I've hurt any ego, it's intentional.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, this is mind-blowing, and I'm sure to the listeners it's mind-blowing too. And I'm sure also that there will definitely be follow-up questions, to throw at Dr. Reju. So give us a call or chat us on WhatsApp on 081 4456 9000. That's 081 4456 9000. Check out our website and interact with us on www.answerswithdrreju.com. Like our Facebook page, Answers with Dr. Reju, or send us an email at answerswithdrreju@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are @Dr. Reju Answers. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Answers with Dr. Reju, where you can get all our episodes. Join us again on Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified.